Hi guys! In today's video I would like to show you how to make a DIY Segway. I wanted to make it for quite a long time, but until now I didn't have all the materials. So today I've got almost everything it takes to make it. And let's get started. But before we start, let me tell you about the materials we will need. And so you know, the build is not set in stone, because we'll need a lot of things, and we may need to use some other materials, or we may not need to use some of the materials we already have. So, first of all, we will need 2 wheels. I'm going to use such a double-wheeled abdominal roller wheels, along with a handle. We're going to use it as a kind of a handlebar. And one of the most important things is the reduction drive. I'm going to use a 12 volts and 160 RPMs one. And to be able to control the vehicle, for instance to turn left or right, speed up or slow down, I decided to use the same units as we were using for making our DIY lawnmower. So, with the help of these units, we're going to control the speed of the motor. Thus, 2 units, 2 motors, 2 power banks, and each of them are working separately. And let's say if we speed up the right side motor, the Segway will turn left. The same principle applies to the right side motor. And if we speed up both of the motors, the Segway will accelerate. We will go through all of this a bit later, but for now most of the info is on the table. And in the power department we are going to use such 2 50 amps hour power banks. Also, I've already cut out the plywood base. I will be describing some of the steps and go over some, but I'm sure everything should be clear enough. So let's finally get started. First of all, let us attach our gearboxes. First, align them as precise as possible, then we will trace around them and make some room for them with a rotary tool. Here's what we've got. We placed the gearbox here, same way as on the other side. Now we need to cut out a few wood blocks to feed them into these spaces, for the plywood not to cave in. Now we can move on to the next step. Let us take off the wheels and attach them to the gearboxes. As you can see, the diameters don't match. That is why we need to make 2 wooden plugs. We're going to make them with the help of our DIY lathe. So here we have our wooden plugs. And as we see, our mini lathe did the job very nicely. Let us place them into the wheels. Grips very tightly. All that's left is to drill a hole in the wooden plug and firmly fix it to the shaft with epoxy. So, welcome to day 2. The resin we applied to the wheel has finally solidified, and we can move on to the next step. Today we're going to make the handle. I'm going to use such a plastic pipe to make it. As I said earlier, we are going to use the roller wheel handle to make the handlebar. What we're going to do now is to drill a hole in the top part of the case, place the pipe into it, and attach the handle. Since a Segway handlebar has to be slightly tilted, I made a tilted hole in the top parts of the plywood case. And also let us cut a piece of the plastic pipe at an angle too. So we are going to attach these units to the handlebar for convenience sake. And at this point we are going to connect the handlebar with the reduction drives using 8 separate wires. And also let us make a through hole in the pipe for the wires to be neatly arranged inside of the tube. Now we need to fix these parts into place with epoxy, and again let it dry for 24 hours. So a few days later our Segway changed a little. First off, I set up such a plastic panel to which I will attach these 2 units later on. These units will allow us to control the speed of the motor, thus helping us to control the Segway itself. And also, when I started riding the Segway, its wheels immediately began to get loose, and I realized that epoxy in our case is not that reliable. So I took the reduction drives to pieces, unscrewed the spindles, and made screw threads on them. I also drilled holes in the wooden plugs, placed screw threads into them, and now it looks way more reliable. And the best part is that we can now firmly screw the wheels dead in place. And I felt that the handlebar also wasn't a Goliath to rely on, and would be left in my hands in the middle of the ride. And I decided to modify it a little and placed a shovel handle into the pipe. Now the handle certainly won't fall apart. And I would like you to know that this is not a final version, it's just a prototype or a testing model. We will certainly have to test it out and give it a ride to see what needs to be removed and what we may need to add or modify. And when we are finally satisfied with the results, we can think about the design of the machine. And I think it should not be a problem to substitute this plastic pipe with a thin aluminum or stainless steel pipe. We can also shape it using some foam, then apply some wall putty, and we can also dye it later. Well, I think it will look awesome. Just make sure to test the machine out first. Now let us place these 2 units. We need to drill 2 holes in the plastic pipe for the resistors. In the end, we need to fix these 2 buttons with hot glue, then connect all the wires to the units, gearboxes, power banks, and install the wheels. And if you're a bit frightened because of the wires and you're not sure how to wire it up, as you can see, all the terminals are designated. The word power indicates power supply, connects the positive and negative contacts of the power bank to it. This is where the motor has to be connected. Now let us wire up the other units the same way. The power supply and motor terminals. By the way, I forgot to mention that our Segway will have a speedometer. I'm going to use a regular bicycle one. And so we finally made our Segway model for testing, and now let's test it out. And also, if you like this video, make sure to click the thumbs up. If we get enough likes, I will certainly continue the series and show what I added and what I removed as I was making it. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention, let's test it out! Well guys, our prototype didn't turn out as intended. We will take off most of the useful parts. The handlebar, wheels, reduction drives. Some gearboxes come with gears of their own. Some are made from steel and some are made from plastic. Plastic ones are designed to be exposed to high pressure. For instance, when a motor is exposed to high pressure, the motor won't get busted, whereas the gear wheel will get broken instead. Well, unfortunately, one of the gear wheels broke, and the motor couldn't work properly. In short, it just works on idle. So we are going to detach one of the gearboxes from the motor, and we may even be able to 3D print such a gear. We'll also take off the power banks, and probably the plywood case won't be reused. And one of the worst things is that it's really hard to keep balance. We will definitely have to set up some additional rollers to be able to keep balance while riding. Well guys, that's it for today. Too bad I wasn't able to make it work this time. But anyhow, hope that you'll like the next episodes. Have a nice day, bye!